I'm Louie Gohmert. I wanted to share a little bit with you about the tax bill that we've passed today. We're talking about tax cuts. This is going to be great for individuals. Now, personally, those of you who know me know I want a flat tax. I want everybody to pay a percentage and the same percentage. So you really could do it on a tiny postcard when you filled out your tax return. But it's not quite that simple. And there continue to be even more people who will not pay any tax. I think we should all pay some. A small percentage would have been best. But this is still a great help for those who are paying taxes. I know you've heard that the poor are going to pay more. Actually, that is completely untrue. Those who were paying the lowest tax rate, which was 10%, under the new tax bill we've passed, will not pay any tax. So it's impossible for people to say that they're going to pay more to make the rich richer. That's simply not true. And in fact, while we were debating the bill, I had some colleagues lean over to me and say, I can't believe that people are actually saying things they know are completely false. But there have been a lot of false information, but you're going to see as the year goes on, this has been a good thing, and it's going to help the economy. And so everybody's tax rate, if you make the same amount, will be coming down. It may help others percentage-wise in the lower areas, but it will be good for everybody. Now, there's been much made about the corporate tax being lowered from 35% to 21%. I was hoping that we would get it all the way down to 15% like President Trump was supporting, and I've urged him this year a number of times, don't let the Speaker and McConnell talk you up from the 15%, because China's income tax for corporations is somewhere around 17–18%, and that would have allowed us to undercut them. Well, we didn't undercut them, but we still got low enough that it will enable us to bring back manufacturing jobs to America. Some of us have been to China and met with CEOs. The number one reason, they said, was not because of labor unions. It was not because of overregulation. They said those were problems, but the number one reason they moved manufacturing to China was because of their corporate income tax. Steve Moore used to be the senior editor of economic news with the Wall Street Journal. Steve says, Louie, you have the best description of what a corporate tax really is. And we in America have been paying the highest tariff that any country puts on its own goods and services, called a corporate tax. If the corporations don't pass that on and have their customers, those who buy their goods and services, pay those taxes, they don't stay in business. So when you knock down from 35% to 21% the amount of tariff that U.S. companies are paying on their own goods, it makes them more competitive worldwide. It's going to bring jobs back. And one of the things that's really broken my heart as our kids have grown up, and I've watched so many children around us grow up, they don't know what it's like to have various companies bidding for them, making offers for their services, please begging them to come work for them. You just don't see that very often anymore. And I can tell you personally, it's just the best feeling in the world when more than one employer wants your services or offering, they're bidding higher and higher. That is the way everybody should have the chance to feel. And this will help the economy sufficiently, bringing more jobs back, that we will actually have more people working, they're making more money, and even going back into George W. Bush's term as president, we had income flatlining and even reducing when you look at inflation and the effect on it. This will be the first chance in many years for many Americans not to be flatlined, not to be losing ground because of inflation, but actually making more money. I've had reporters here ask me across here in the Capitol, But how do you make up for all that lost revenue? They can't seem to understand that when the economy is doing better, more people are working and are paying income tax than did before. You've got more people that are making more, paying more, and the combination of those things ends up ultimately increasing the federal revenue. Now, our goal should not be to increase federal revenue coming into the government, but when you lower taxes substantially like we have done today, it is going to have that effect, and there will be more revenue coming in. An example is Ireland. They had dropped their corporate tax down to around 12%. Companies flocked in there, and the Irish government had more money flooding in than they knew what to do with, so they overspent and they got into trouble. Now they're going to drop it yet again to 8 or 9%, and they're promising that this time they won't get so giddy as they did last time and overspend all the massive wealth coming into the federal treasury. But here in the United States, we should be cutting spending in areas where we don't need to be wasting it. But in the meantime, this will be so good for the economy. In fact, it will be so good for the economy, I would anticipate that probably by around August, the economy will be continuing to improve, so much so that our Democratic friends will no longer want to talk about this tax bill because of what it will do for the economy. They'll not want to talk about the economy stupid, as was said during Bill Clinton's run for president, because the economy will be doing just fine because of what we've done here for the American people. We do have some other bills to take up. I don't know if we'll be here till Christmas Day or not. I've told my colleagues that maybe the best thing we could do for the American people is just express a willingness to stay here in Washington through Christmas until we get what needs to be done accomplished. Of course, when you're willing to do that, it's amazing how those against you cave much more quickly. But we're having a good day here today. It's good because it's going to be so good for American people. And one more great bit of news, the individual mandate that was required in Obamacare is going away. I want it to go away immediately because I know I've talked to so many of you in East Texas that struggled with whether or not to just pay the extra income tax for not having health care or to pay for a health insurance policy that has such a high deductible and high premiums that it's costing you a fortune and yet will never help you out. Now that we're repealing that, it's not effective till January 1 of 2019, but you will see new health insurance businesses, new models for health care. You may see more offering their services just for a low monthly fee to the doctor, cut insurance companies out altogether. You will probably see insurance companies that get back into the business of health savings accounts, and those will proliferate so that you will be building up so much revenue in your health savings account that you will be able to cover a very high deductible, a catastrophic policy. So you make your own decisions, not the federal government. We're on track here, folks. Don't believe the lies that have been told about this terrible draconian bill. It's going to do a lot of good for a lot of people. It's going to free up a lot of people that have been wearing fiscal figurative chains because they were so weighted down by the federal government. This is going to free up the economy. The American people are going to do better, and it's an honor to get to serve you in making these things happen. Thank you so much. God bless you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.